Hello and welcome to another video concerning Pivot Table. A Pivot Table, again, it's a very powerful tool associated with Microsoft Excel. Mostly it's used for decision making, drilling through massive amount of data. What we wanted to make sure that we can expand on what we have. If you notice here, we have data, products, category, amount, date, and country. Of course, we have mentioned order ID as a identification piece of data to tell us really about the transaction number. So it doesn't really give us too much information except to sort the data based on their entry or to identify each unique record, which is a row by itself. Uh, let's assume that we wanted to add additional piece of information that is calculated from these existing field. For example, or just let's go ahead and make it fictitious assumption or of some sort that we want to calculate the tax based on 7.5% or 5% or whatever is the result. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how we could calculate a new field based on an existing field in a pivot table. So if I say here tax, notice here immediately added a column, and this is going to be this amount multiplied by 5%. So you notice here immediately calculated that very easily for the rest of everything. For example, if I press control down arrow, it's going to take me all the way to the bottom of the table. It's going to take me control up arrow or the upper arrow. It's going to take me all the way to the top. Again, I could calculate another one, which is going to be the total, meaning the amount plus the tax, which is going to be this plus this. And as a result, we'll be able to see that we calculated the total. So if I started by inserting a new pivot table, and I'm going to go ahead and put it into a new worksheet. This is my table. I know it's the veggie fruits. And here we go. We're going to start a new sheet with a pivot table that is completely blank. I'm going to go ahead and zoom it to 200% so I'll be able to see it better. There is nothing here yet. But you notice the list of the attribute doesn't show the tax and the products. I'm sorry, the tax and the total. So in order for me to see this, I have to go to the analyze, sub-ribbon and click on refresh. Here we go. Look here, we ended up having the tax and the total as well. So what I want you to be aware of, the fact that you could add any sort of calculation or additional field, whether they are calculated or just added sometimes later to the original table. You could go ahead and you need to go ahead and refresh that table in order to reflect those new additional attributes or fields. So now if I wanted to go ahead and say, okay, this is the total now instead of the original amount. Now this is the sum of everything. I wanted to go ahead and get the products right here, and I could go ahead and put the category right there. And here we go. Notice that we ended up with apple, banana, beans, broccoli, carrots, and everything that we have seen before. Of course, we could go ahead and calculate or display rather the value field with a currency because this is actually currency value. And here we go. It takes a second to do this, but we have to do it repeatedly. Listen, this is actually going to be very, very powerful in future calculation when we talk about the addition of like a filter like we did in previous videos, countries. Here we go. It's really worked very, very nice. And we could go ahead and filter that very easily. Here we go. I'm going to go ahead and allow multiple selection. This is all the United States. And other things that we could really do pertaining to the data. We don't have a lot of data as we see here. We only have original 5 fields. We added 2, the tax and the products. So this is going to be typical. We wanted to go ahead and do something else now. How about if I wanted to go ahead and delete everything here, everything, just take it out and drag it to the white area so we could go ahead and start fresh. I wanted to go ahead and show a list of the amount of sales per month. Okay, so we have a date. Okay, that's the date. Usually we put the date for, like columns or rows. But if we put that in the rows, look, we're going to have a very large list. We're going to end up actually with 214. No, not 214, because it's going to be dates that as unique as to the date. Basically, if we have 214 or 13 records, if the multiple transaction happens on the same date, it's not going to be repeated. But that's too much dates for us to see and look at, and it's going to be a long list. How about if I wanted to group this list by, first of all, I said earlier month, but I'm going to go ahead and say, how about if I want to group it by week first? What are we going to do? You're going to click on the right button of your mouse, right click, and we're going to go to the group. I'm clicking on it. I see second, minutes, hours, days, month, quarters, years. I could easily do that, quarters. I'm sorry, I'm switching back and forth, but just to show you how exciting it is, are the 4 quarters. And if I do drag the amount directly right here, it shows you this is how much we sold in quarter 1, 2, and 3, and 4. But I'm going to go ahead and group because I want it to expand. Okay, and I'm going to click the right button again and go ahead to group, and I'm going to go ahead and use the days, but the days that's the original one. However, I'm going to increase that to 7 because there are 7 days in a week. And look here, it's going to group it for me per week. Amazing. So what we can do, you could see this is the amount, the sum of the amount or the sales that are being done per week through all countries, of course. How about if I wanted to do that by month? So what we're going to do, we're going to click on this, okay, group again, and now we're going to group it by month. Here we go. So now we have, basically, I maybe clicked on something the wrong way. Here we go. I'm going to go ahead and click. I let the day and the month shows. I need to uncheck the days and leave the month alone. And here we go. We got a January all the way to December. So this is the amount of sales that's basically we did in each month. And I could go ahead and click on the sum of amount, value field setting, change the number format to currency. So that will show me. I'm going to actually give the negative value red and take also no digit to the right of the decimal points, and you'll tell me why you would actually change that to the red as a negative, because in a second I'll show you a use for the negative value. Here we go. So notice here, in January we sold 89,000. In February the sales dropped to 62,000. In March we ended up 104, and in April is 49,000. May was incredibly high month for the sales, and we could see that there is a change in the sale. So if my boss asked me, could you show me how much difference in sales took place between January and February, March and April, and every other month, like what is this to this, and March to February, and so forth. This is going to be done very, very easily in in Pivot Table. First of all, in order to do this, leave that alone because I need to see this later. I'm going to go ahead and ironically, I'm going to grab another amount directly to the value area for the data, the fields between areas here. And notice this is identical to this. However, I'm going to do this. I'm going to click on this, and I want you to give me completely your attention to see how we're going to do this. First of all, I'm going to change the custom name from sum of amount to difference. Difference between months. And I could leave it like, now we're going to click as show values as. This is really where it gets so juicy, so powerful. A lot of people don't see this hidden treasure associated with Pivot Table. Now we're going to, instead of no calculation, we're going to look at what is available for us here. One of them here says grand total, column total, percentage of row total, the percentage of, I'm going to go ahead and drag, there's more option obviously, percentage of parent row totals, and a percentage of parent column total, percentage of parent total, and different from. And that's exactly what I'm looking for, different from. Of course, there are different from percentage, running total, which we will be adding it later, and running percentage of the total in rank smallest to the largest. And you could get actually index, and all these you could play with in your own time. But let's go ahead and get to the difference from, meaning different from what? First of all, we need to make sure that the base field is still the date because that's the calculation based on it. And different from, not January, because we can do it just based on January. I'm going to go ahead and do it base item on the previous month, on the previous month, previous month, or you could do it in the next if you care about that. And here we go. We're going to click on it. It's impossibly beautiful. Look, here we go. That difference is really between this and this is minus $26,000. Now, you will tell me it's about time to show you the benefit of going to go ahead and declare that as currency and make the negative value as a red and take, of course, the all the digit. And here we go, and notice the right formatting and the red color associated with the negative value. So there was actually a negative value in February comparing to January. Look how much we increased the sale in May from April, and look how much we dropped in June from May, and so forth. So the difference from is very powerful tool to tell you about how your business is performing. And we could do another one very easily. Instead of looking at the actual value, how about if I wanted to see the percentage in the difference? So I'm going to continue to add the amount because all the calculation based on that value. And of course, it's going to give me the sum of amount. I'm going to change that immediately by clicking on it. Value field setting. I'm changing it to percentage difference. And I'm going to go to the show values as. And I'm going to leave it as, show the value as, of course, leave it based on the date. And I'm going to say show or click on percentage different from. Different from what? The previous month. Leave it as date because that's really the field that is going to be the calculation based on it. And here we go. We ended up having, minus 30% in February comparing to January. Of course, the same thing I could do. I could go to this here, value field list, go to number format, do the currency, and of course not currency in this case, sorry, it's number and or percentage. Wow, I'm making too many mistakes here, but leave the 2 digit to the right of the decimal point because you don't want to chop them off. So I'll leave them there, and here we go, and we ended up, one second here, there is no red value. I could easily do that, the red value in, if it's not available for the formatting, I could go to the home and I could go to the conditional formatting and create a new rules, just one single rules. I'll say here, format cell that contains, and I will say if the value cell is less than 0, less than or equal, less than 0, and we're gonna go ahead and format it with the red, whether it's the text or maybe we could be more creative by formatting the actual cell. I'm going to go ahead and do it into 2 color to give it a very good looking red color here for those cells that are negative. And here we go, look here, those are the negative values, and this has really become much more appealing. Thank you for watching. This is going to be exciting. Looking for the next video where we're going to be dealing with pivot charts. Thanks.